Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Garfield Waller, and I'd like to welcome you all to another episode of Roc da Mic. Whether you're watching on Facebook or you are on YouTube, welcome. We're glad to have you here. Guys, tonight I am positive that we will be able to see and read your comments, and this should be a very interesting evening. But before we get started, guys, just a few things we've got to take care of. Like I said in my remarks over the past week, I'd like to apologize for what happened last week. We just can't explain what went wrong with Facebook, even though it streamed okay on YouTube. So sorry for the inconvenience, guys. But let's move forward. And remember, at the root of all this, it's all about St. Mary High, what we can do for our school. On a more serious note, though, we heard a couple of weeks ago that one of the caretakers at the school passed away. We'd like to say condolences to his family. And it doesn't matter what job you did at St. Mary High, you will always be a part of the school body, and we'll always have you in our prayers. Guys, something good that came out of last week. The following day, this to show that St. Mary High people will work. They will help the school. They will support our alma mater. The following day, a young lady called me. She was from the batch of, I think, 75 or 76. And she said, look, Waller, I left school in 78 because I did sixth form, because she did sixth form. And ever since I left, I never really gave anything back to the school. But after hearing the principal last Saturday, she said, look, I'm offering two $500 scholarships for two needy kids at St. Mary High. So I said, hold on. You mean 500 Jamaican? She said, no, two $500 US dollars. And she's ready to hand over that money. It's just for the school to decide on the criteria. But we have people like this who are willing to help out, guys. Who are willing to help out. And if you're listening to me at this moment, you may never have given back anything to the school. I didn't for a long time. I didn't at all, not for ages. And now I want to give back. I'm hoping I can get others like you to join me. And we got to start working on this batch now that's going to graduate so that they don't have that long lapse of 5, 10, 15, 20 years before they start giving back. Now, talking about giving back, I have with me here some members of, they claim they're the best batch that ever came through the gates of St. Mary High. I don't know why. But guys, there seems to be this thing where every batch, I don't care if they're just 10 people, every batch seems to believe that before they came in, nothing existed. And the only reason why things exist now after they left is because of them. So guys, tonight I have some members of the batch of 1990. They claim it's the vintage year. So guys, without further ado, help me welcome these people. I have 3 of them. They think they are God's gift to mankind. So let's go, guys. Here they go. Here we go. So let me welcome them. First, we have Denise. Denise, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay. Next, we have Andrew. Andrew, what's up, man? How are you, Andrew?
Unmute.
Unmute, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm good.
You're
So
good,
far,
good.
Everyone is doing well.
All right. And Nicholas Taylor, how are you, sir?
I am indeed great. I am great and continue to be great.
And continue to be great. All right. So, guys, let's go with this. Why is it that the batch of 1990 thinks they're the best things in sliced bread? Denise, you want to take that first? Denise, you want to go ahead?
Because we are the absolute best, Well, okay, fine. We might not be the best to other classes, but for us, class of 1990, we are the best. We shine, we work together in harmony. Okay, fine. We're not perfect. Sometimes we wobble, but we work together. We love each other and we stick together. We are there for each and every one.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Andrew. Go ahead.
Nick, what do you say about that?
Well, I am in full support of what Denise is saying, but to top it off, and of course, after I speak, then Enzo will put on the icing on the cake. But to top it off, the class of 1990 is the only batch that has never ever left St. Mary High School.
What do you mean you never ever left? What you got held back in certain classes?
What I mean, if you check all the other classes, they will tell you that it took them some time before they could give back. However, the class of 1990 started giving back the 1st of July 1990. We never ever shirked St. Mary High School. In that of a Nicholas Taylor, in that of a Denise Clark Michael, in that of a Enzo, in that of every single member of class of 1990, we have always been giving back to St. Mary High School.
Those are bold words, Mr. Taylor, very bold words. And there are many out there who would take issue with that. Enzo, do you want to back this man up? Can you back him up?
Well, I can, because even, over the last few years, we have started a WhatsApp group. We have had discussions on Skype. We have done several programs with the school. But long before that, I was, on my own, and I know other people were on their own doing things behind the scenes without our names being out there, trying to help the school directly and help students directly. So we have been doing a lot of work. Now that we are together as a group, I think we have already made a big impact, and we will continue to make a big impact. The pandemic has slowed us down somewhat, but we will continue to make a big impact because we have big plans.
Wow. I find it hard to believe that a group that you guys were born just after independence, I know you're making this bold claim. And I'm sure I'll have other people on in a couple of weeks, couple of months who will refute that. No, guys, let's look at this. Let's take this section by section. Let's start with, say, academics. How would you say your batch shone brighter than other batches?
Which of us wants to take that first?
Well, I want to make the point that I remember fifth form, and I remember the whispers about our class not doing as well as others. And then results came out. Yeah, we didn't do so badly. We lost many of our science teachers, and many of us still went ahead and did really well in the sciences in CXA. I do remember us having to teach ourselves, significant portions of the physics syllabus and the chemistry syllabus in 10th and 11th grade. It was interesting.
All right. In fact, I understand that several doctors and medical practitioners came out of that batch. Is it so?
Well, we have produced really strong people right across the fields. Yes, I have to admit, I am a physician. I know other physicians from this group, and we have done well, and we have gone far and wide.
Please go ahead. Please continue, Enzo.
There, at least, I know for another physician who's a close friend of mine who's not actively involved, but involved from a distance. I know of other medical providers, other business people, nurses, teachers, engineers, people who are in business. We have, I think at the top of our class would be, I have to mention his name, Mr. Lincoln Downer.
Okay.
So we are proud of where
I've heard of the man.
members have gotten.
I have heard of the man.
I am extremely proud, and every opportunity I get, I have to say to my classmates and the people from that entire batch, thank you. You made me who I am.
All right. Nick,
Yes.
you were active in the cadets. I believe you still are. Now,
Yes.
when we were going to school in the 70s, we were one of the top schools in the cadets.
Yes.
Have you guys come close, or have you dreamt of eclipsing the 70s group?
The fact is, the group of between 1985 and 1990, that was a low time in cadetting, but we were still effective. We were still sharp. We were still able to go places and represent well. So when we lose the inspection in 1986, that was when we lost the inspection for the first time after 2 years. We lost the inspection in 1986. And what happened then is that we had an issue with uniforms.
Oh, okay.
At the end of every result of the final round inspection, we were like 2 points behind just because we were not able to kit out all the cadets with
I see.
with uniform. But it took a member of the batch of 1990 to bring things back to the fore.
And that who might that be?
And that member of the batch of 1990 plus others, we were able to cause the St. Mary High School cadet unit to be the champions for even 5 consecutive years.
Wow, impressive.
Yes.
5 years.
So we were champions in 1997, 1998, 1999, 2000, 2001. And in 2002, we had a misfortune, but we took it back in 2003.
Wow.
And we have continued. No other cadet unit in the history of the Combined Cadet Force will ever live to do that.
And hey, ladies and gentlemen, what you're hearing is testamental to the guys who have run this thing. And right there, the man who just spoke is the guy in charge of the cadet unit at St. Mary High. Kudos to you, Mr. Taylor. You're doing a great job.
One correction, Gary. No longer the man in charge at St. Mary High School. I am now the man in charge of Portland, St. Mary.
Yeah, we're coming to that, sir.
Trelawney, and St. Catherine.
You're the man. You're large and in charge. Yeah.
Large and in charge.
All right. Then
and that's the dynamism of the St. Mary High School class of 1990.
Oh my God. We can't shut it up tonight. Eh? Denise, are you still there? Denise?
Yes, sir, I'm still here.
All right. Denise, Indro just bragged about academics, Nick about his cadets. What area would you like to take on? What area would you like to show off about?
I'll be very honest. When I was going to school, I wasn't the best scholar. I was pretty smart, but my mother had gone a foreign, and boy, when them leave people to look after you, and I get the look after where you're supposed to get. It just start, do whatever needs to be done. But we were always pretty close. I did dancing. As a matter of fact, quite a few of our batchmates were on the dance team. We were on the netball team. We did track, and which I did all. I did track. I did music. I did acting, dancing. But I must say that class of 1990, we rock. We did. And we were always doing stuff for like to build up the school. Like we would plant up the school and them something there.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever they had certain days, we would sweep up the place where we do the netball. We would play the netball or the cadets or whatnot. So, we were always pretty active and stuff like that. And, I left the school before I could graduate.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I left the school in 1989. But that not still in a disqualify me, So, and you know what though? To put back on what both Nick and Andrew was saying, for our batch, we have done so much, and it's not like a show off thing or a pat on the back, but we are so passionate about helping, because even during the pandemic, we were helping the community.
Yep, I realize
we were
that.
Helping people, even, batchmates who, they were probably not doing so well or whatever. We reached out to them.
Wait,
we were
hold on, Denise. Hold, stick up in there. We're coming to that. Let me just get some more bragging from you guys. Okay, what about sports? Andrew, you want to go with that? You want to fly with that first, or Nick?
I'm going to pass that one to Nick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look here. When you speak about sports and you speak about Mark Green and Denzel Jackson, and Nelson, when you speak about all of us who, even though Nick Taylor, could not have played football, but I was so inspired so that I went to try out for the football team.
Even though he couldn't play.
Of course, it would be a big no because I can't control a ball. But when we had class matches, we had some of the best class matches, and no forward outside of 7 Seymour could pass the defense known as bulldozer. Yours truly, none whatsoever. And you ask anybody about it, and I can tell you that is so. But we did well in sports. We were idle, but we did well. When you speak of Damian Robinson, the 1986 World Cup, yes, and we were all buoyed up and ready to go about it. And Damian Robinson had what you call it, undiluted love for football. So he created the World Cup teams using buckle stopper. The B&G buckle car. And he would get a piece of paper and he would color them according to the jersey and write the numbers in it. And then you would use a shirt button. And that was the ball. And we would play on the decks. We didn't play money football just yet. We were playing buckle stopper ball. And that is the love we had for sports. We supported football, we supported cricket, we supported track and field, we supported netball. As a matter of fact, as a person in charge of the cadets, when it comes on to netball, cadet meeting was at the netball court. If you were absent from a netball match, you would be absent from cadet meeting.
Oh my gosh.
That is what the class of 1990 was all about. Sports, that's our game. We used to idle with sports. One of the best times to have PE is on a Friday afternoon when the rain is falling.
Absolutely.
All right, Andrew, go ahead now, Andrew, with your point.
With netball, I do remember our class, we had some wonderful women playing netball in our class. At the time, girls, but not all women. And I remember following that team wherever they went to go watch games.
Was it, were you following because of sports or?
Sports, totally.
A little of both.
Only sports. A great netball team. And they were good.
Yes.
And they were my classmates.
What about school challenge, guys? How were you guys in school challenge?
We did okay. I was on the B team at some point. I remember going to JBC and freezing in the studio watching him.
Okay.
We did all right. We did all right. We represented.
But
Right,
guys,
Miss Flinch was the coach then, right?
Yes, yes.
who was that?
Miss Flinch, Miss Marilyn Flinch.
Marilyn Flinch.
Yes.
Okay. Who was the principal at that time, guys, while you were there?
Mr. Hamilton.
Mr. Hamilton.
Hamilton. Oh, that's one
Come
principal.
on now,
right?
let's be fair. We used to call him name Breche, breadfruit.
Brescia.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I never
cannot-
got a chance to
cannot-
meet him.
He's Philip Nathaniel Hamilton.
Philip Nathaniel Hamilton. Oh,
Yes.
oh,
And
okay.
he was one of the best.
So, guys,
One of a kind.
go ahead.
Indeed, one of a kind, because he came when we came and he left when the class of 1990 graduated.
Oh my God. Wow.
He was awesome.
I have to tell you, when we were in what was it, ninth grade, one day we didn't have class or something was happening, and we went down the street to this place that had food and table tennis and this weight room. I don't remember the name of the place. But we got caught. Next morning, we all got packed into his office. Yeah, he was quite disappointed with us for leaving campus.
For leaving
One
campus.
of those experiences that you just can't forget.
Yeah, those are things that you will never ever, never ever forget. But guys, let me ask you, during your time at St. Mary High, did you guys ever realize that this was what you were destined to be, what you are now? Did you think St. Mary High equipped you guys properly for life on the outside?
If I can take that,
Yeah, go ahead.
one of the things that I have now, I am a physician, I'm an anesthesiologist. I've been in practice since 2007, finished medical school in 2007. And I always look back at St. Mary High as my top achievement academically.
Wow.
Why? The curriculum was rigorous.
Mhm.
My classmates were brilliant. My classmates pushed me. My classmates opened up the world to me, allowed me to see possibilities beyond us growing up in rural Jamaica.
Mhm.
And I tell young people, the time you need to really work hard is when you're in those teenage years. Those habits will carry you through your entire life. I learned all my study skills at St. Mary High
At
School.
St. Mary High. Okay.
And I give 100% credit to St. Mary High School for building rigor and challenge and my curiosity about the world. And I think that's what young people need: curiosity, rigor, and support.
All right, hold on a minute there. I see Mr. Paul Sinclair has joined us. Mr. Sinclair, can you hear us, sir?
Loud and clear. Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir. Mr.
Wonderful.
Sinclair, are you a member of the 1990 batch?
I am indeed.
All right, Mr. Sinclair, I know you didn't hear the rest of the conversation, so let's hear.
Yes, I was out actually, just came back in.
All right, let's hear if you guys mesh up and sync up together. So, Mr. Sinclair, what makes your batch the number one batch? Why do you think your batch is the number one batch?
I want to think that we were an exception amongst everybody else. I think just the camaraderie that was there, and that has extended itself even through to today, which is 30 years after. That camaraderie still exists. But I'd want to think that just the fact that we, I would think that everybody had similar backgrounds. It was a struggle for everybody. There was no differentiation between what you'd consider to be those who had and who did not have.
Okay.
It was always a similar platform for everybody. And I thought that lent itself for us to have come together as a unit, work together as individuals and within teams and or groups, right? And I think that manifested itself in the success stories that you hear of today.
Wait, hold on.
St. Mary's School.
Wait, hold on. Can you tell me the truth? Did you guys get together and rehearse this?
I was on the tour of the scholar tonight, so definitely not.
We don't need
Not.
to. We don't need to. We don't need to rehearse.
Oh, God.
If you want to talk about the rehearsal, let us use this as the rehearsal.
But my thought is this, right? When you lay a solid foundation, right? And I've always said that we've developed lifelong friendships and families throughout the years, right? But when you've laid that sort of foundation, the current is just a representation of that foundation.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay, get
and I think that was just instilled in us very early in our days. And I mean, St. Mary's School just provided that pathway and that foundation and that platform for which to have excelled.
Okay.
What you see today is just a product or a byproduct of, a solid dedication, having a good support system, whether it be within the administration, teachers, and just within the school populace.
Okay. Well said, sir. Well said.
Before we move on, I would want to add to what Enzo said in respect to if how we see St. Mary High preparation for where we are now, and if when we started, if where we are now was our intent at the time. I have always wanted to become a teacher. From the tender age of 9 years old, Miss Iselin Simmons in Derry asked me the question, what you want to do when you grow up? And I said to her, I want to become a teacher. And she said to me, that's very good. And from that day forward, she called me Teacher Nick. If I go to her house now and call her and say, Miss Iselin, I am here, she will say, what's up, Teacher Nick? Right? And that's what I always wanted to become. I must also say, though, that while we all did not do well present at school, we were all brilliant students. We knew what we wanted. We had a discipline. However, all of us did not achieve immediately.
Right.
Okay? But whatever we left with, we had that determination to go and fix it and to get where we are today. And that is what St. Mary High does to us. Whatever discipline we were involved in, whether it be cadets, whether it be 4-H, whether it be the sports, whether it be table tennis, whatever it is that we decided to be a part of, it prepared us for what we have become. All right? And so when I say to all the people that the class of 1990 never ever left St. Mary High School. When I walked through those gates of St. Mary High School on the September morning of 1985, Nicholas Taylor of the class of 1990 never ever left St. Mary High School. Not even for a day.
Not even for a day. Wow, that's remarkable.
Not even for a day.
There is remarkable.
No other class that can boast that level of commitment. We have been giving back from the day after our graduation.
Wait.
Whether it be by being a groundsman, whether it be by being a member of the administrative staff, a member of the academic staff, whatever it is, we have always been giving back. I remember when I prayed to God Almighty, and I said to him, Lord, make it happen one day where I can stay right here at St. Mary High School and achieve my goals. And indeed, I am doing so.
All right, hold on a minute, Nick. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, you're on Roc da Mic, and I have here with me a very prestigious batch, the batch of 1990, and they think they're the cat's pajamas. And guys, I would love to see some comments challenging or refuting this, because, hey, we cannot let this little batch from just the other day take all the glory. So I'm hoping after this we'll get some challenges. I'm hoping some batches from the 70s or the 2000s, I'm hoping you guys will come forward, because we can't let them just ride roughshod over everybody. Anyway, guys, are there any teachers? Are there any teachers from your batch who really stand out? Any teachers you had who really left a lasting impression on your mind?
May I please answer that?
Certainly, ma'am. Go ahead.
Next. I have next.
Miss Georgia Knight.
Georgia Knight.
I had some difficulties when I was in school because, once again, because the whole me being raised where a mom or a dad is not present in the home.
Mm-hmm.
And, I never did know my father at a certain age. And people, the kids used to laugh at me. And I wasn't the most attractive. The school uniform, but it stays so right. Me did maga like me now feed. No, I'm not even trying to be funny. I kid you not. I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm just trying to be straight up with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
They used to make fun of me. I used to be called ugly duckling, or kudimaga foot picking, or dry foot, something like that. There you go, dry as too, right? And I remember one time because Miss Knight used to teach sewing, and at times she would teach food and nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember I went into class and she was, teaching us some sewing and whatnot. I'm long up my face, and she was like, "Come here, what is wrong with you?" And I was like, "Nothing." She said, "Something is wrong with you. Look at your face." And I said, "They keep saying that I'm ugly." And she said, "Come over here, pretty picnic." And she gave me a hug and a kiss. And I was like, "Well, what kind of mess is going on here? I know I ain't cute." And she sat me down and she says, "You're very beautiful. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise."
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you I cried like a baby, ever since I just thought I was the cat's meow. The next morning, me wake up, I'm go out the door, go take Sima bus. And I came to I gate, I'm come through the gates of St. Mary High School. Wow. Them couldn't talk to me because I got confidence from my teacher.
Right, that confidence.
To this
Okay.
day,
Mm-hmm.
she holds a special place in my heart. I tell you, she even had to be at my wedding. Me not leave her out no time at all.
Mm-hmm.
That woman molded me. And sometimes even after class, I would just go by her classroom just to wave or to smile. I mean, it just gave me a boost to want to come to school.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I was in the 8th grade. Ever since then, I was fine. Because, when you go to the 7th grade, you don't really know yourself. You don't know Wagwan.
Right.
I was in 7 Seymour, just like Nick. We didn't know what part of the game it was. We weren't saying, "Oh, I'm going to be a doctor tomorrow," or "I'm going to be a firefighter." We were lost. And, to have people that I thought were my friends, make fun of me. And I cannot blame them. We're kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Kids
true.
can be cruel. I mean, yeah, I mean, fling some stone after people too. I mean, laugh at a few people myself. Let's not, try to act like I got a crown. But seriously, but when they would call me ugly and drive with all them something there, I felt bad. And trust me, when I tell you, I go home, and plaster my ear with Vaseline and water to make it curly like me a coolie. But it didn't work because by the time it lit the bus, and few at the ear. The breeze go through my head. By the time I go to the school, the head stand up stiff. It dries same way. But Miss Knight always told me, don't let it bother you. So believe me when I tell you, every day,
Mm-hmm.
religiously, I would go by her class. If it's to wave, run and give her a hug or something like that. And, she just changed the whole dynamics for me.
Okay.
And then I started gaining more confidence within myself. You know what I'm saying? I started laughing more. I started playing with my friends more. You know what I'm saying? So I must say, kudos to her. She was awesome and always will be a part of my life. Always.
Right. Thank you. Well said. Mr. Sinclair, any teacher who held a special
Without
place?
a doubt. I'll explain something to you, right? First and second form, I was a lost soul. And I mean, I didn't know whether or not I belonged at St. Mary's School. I didn't know what high school was all about, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went to Highgate All Age in primary school, and that transition, I guess, just took an extended period of time. But I remember the first day of grade 9, Mrs. Mullings. And Mrs. Mullings was a teacher who taught us history at the time. Mrs. Mullings came to my class and she said, "Paul, pack your bag and come with me." Up to this day, I still do not know why she said that. But I remember I changed classes in 9th grade. And what stood out to me at the time was that my first test, I got a 40%. Boy, was I ashamed. And I said to myself, never, ever again. And that was the game changer for me for high school. So I really and truly have to thank Mrs. Mullings for making that change. For whatever reason, that change came about. In addition to Mrs. Mullings, Mrs. Bedward.
Okay.
10 and 11B, business classes, accounting.
Mm-hmm.
I'd always had an interest in business and finance. But Mrs. Bedward really cemented the fundamentals of what business and accounting was all about. And I think through to this day, what I know or can exhibit of accounting, I have to give credit to Mrs. Bedward for that. So both Mrs. Bedward and Mrs. Mullings were both instrumental in what I think I've become today. And for them, I'm forever grateful. Mrs. Mullings have certainly passed away some years now, but Mrs. Bedward is still alive. But certainly, if I were to ever give credit to any two teachers, those were the two persons, without a doubt.
Okay. Man, Enzo, what about you?
Mm-hmm. You know, one of the things that looking back at high school, looking at my entire school life, I recognize I never was one of those kids who really paid attention in class. I still have notebooks at home in Jamaica where I have drawn all over the book. Never paid attention. And that's what my parents tell me now, that when I was in basic school, the teachers would complain that I would be talking in the back and not paying attention. So I've had those teachers who have really stood out in my life, who have gotten my attention. And I'm in 7th grade, I remember first week of school, I got into a fight.
What?
First week of school. And Miss Clark, who I think she was vice principal at the time or something, I don't remember, but I just remember her saying to me, you cannot behave that way. And at another time, I got into another fight, and she had me spend 2 periods in her office listening to the secretary in the office type. I can still hear the clanging of the keyboard. It just nearly drove me nuts.
That's punishment.
The clanging. That experience really changed my outlook, and really reminded me that, hey, you're here with other people. You have to learn how to behave. Then in 9th, like Paul said, 7th grade, 8th grade was a blur.
It was really, indeed. It was indeed.
I just like, it happened. And I got to 9th grade, and I remember Mr. Brown, who was an exchange teacher, was teaching us chemistry. That was the first time I actually felt like, wait, I can do this. This is easy. After that experience, everything became easy. I remember meeting, and I think probably the most profound effect on me was Mr. Hill. Rest his soul. Taught us physics. He introduced physics, and I was like, oh my God, I now understand how the world works.
Okay.
It was transformational for me. And I talk to every kid I can get hold of. Like, listen, you must take physics. If you understand this, the world will make sense.
Okay.
And those teachers really made a huge difference in my life. Not just the content, but just they gave me confidence.
Garfield, if I can just interject for a second, right? But I think, and I'm probably sure that it's probably the same now, but I think that transition from primary school to high school, 7th grade, 8th grade, was just challenging for most students.
Yeah,
until you got to 9th grade is when you really found yourself and realized what high school was all about.
The light doesn't go until then.
It did. That light bulb didn't just go off once you made that transition.
Right.
You know, and it made it particularly difficult for some of us during 7th and 8th grade. But there were those teachers who had our back. They were there to pave that way for us, right? Showed us the way. You know, they ensured that we were taken care of, right? And though we were able to just mention 1 or 2, there are many teachers who played a part and they were instrumental in what we are today. Many, many teachers.
True. Let's hear from Nick now, because I'm sure it was a bad boy at school. I'm sure it was a bad boy.
Indeed. You never missed a word to say that. I was not a gangster. However, I was one of the biggest troublemakers in high school. And it didn't seem that way, but if you should get in front of me, and I wouldn't mince words if I had to speak to a teacher. All right. And so I was one of those guys who felt that when I have my right, I hang to my right and I will not let go of my right. But I was the biggest troublemaker. I got the most caning in high school.
Agrees in.
The class of 1990, of the entire class of 1990, I, Nicholas Taylor, boast the most caning.
I'm going to challenge you on that.
Nick, I have never been caned.
I'm going to challenge you on that one. I got 2.
You got 2. Okay. That's 2.
Nicholas getting 2 per week, right?
All right. And so get it into it, Garfield. I was a troublemaker. I was an idler. I just lived free coming to high school. And so I could point to many teachers who tried. Many teachers who tried. I loved Miss Saraj. I became friends with Mrs. Jones. Is it Mrs. Jones or Mrs. Smith? But her name was Jones and she married named Smith, or vice versa. One of them. We became friends after we had a very hard time in grade 7 because she tried something with me and I stood up to her because, hey, you don't dare do that with me. And that was how I am. That's how I am. That's how I was then. And I am saying to you, Garfield, if I should point to one of the many teachers who inspired me, and though, you know, a lot of people in the world now may be just waiting with bated breath to hear this. And it had to be Brigadier Errol Vaughan Johnson. Despite the fact that I was a troublemaker, what the government sees today, where child diversion is concerned, he saw it then. What the government sees today in restorative justice, he saw it then. And despite the fact I got many canings from him, 1 or 2 times from Mr. Hamilton, the fact is that he's the one that stands out right now. He's the one that basically became that father figure at school to help to shape my direction, so much so that when I became a member of staff and decided to leave, and he asked me, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going back to Derry to farm. He said, all right, just give me 1 more year. And the rest is history. So I would have to single out Brigadier Johnson in this case, because I must tell you the impact when I was locked up by the police in 5th form. Just a couple of months before I should go to do the exam, and it caused a crowd in Port Maria. Yes?
I never knew of that.
No. Look here. The Nick Taylor in St. Mary High School. I think I have one of the best lives. One of the best lives. But Brigadier Johnson, he was the one, and he still is the one who today caused many students, many students to be who they are because of the way how he approaches things in terms of his child diversion instinct and his restorative justice method. What other teachers would want to see our administration do with students? He was not that type, even though people misinterpreted who he really was. And the truth is, I must tell you this, it impacted me so much so that when I became a member of staff, he was the same one who looked at me and said, Nick, you are one of those, Nick Taylor, is the cause of some of these boys to be in the school. Brigadier Johnson told me that when he was principal. Why? Because when he saw a child and would want to run him out of the school, I would stand in the way. I stood up against Chairman Guy when they wanted to run students out of the school. I stood up against Chairman Levy when he wanted to run students out of the school. And I will stand up to anybody else who wants to run a child out of the school without any good reason. And you know, I kudos to Brigadier Johnson. And I say that unreservedly.
Yes, seems that you guys had a lot of real sound, solid role models. Now, since you guys got that great start and you have blossomed out in life, can you educate us, inform the rest of us viewers, what is it that your batch is doing to really give back, to pay it forward? Because I hear your batch, you guys are doing some wonderful things. Who would like to start with explaining?
I'm going to start. I crave your indulgence, ladies and gentlemen. I really want for you to give me the chance, and because this project is dear to my heart. And 4 years ago, we said that we want to impact St. Mary High School in the smallest of ways. Mm-hmm. And we got together as a group and we said, look here, 90 of us now in the group. For each of us to give $1,000, it would be $90,000. That $90,000 can pay for 2 subjects for some students. And we said, okay, we are going to do so. I remember getting a phone call from Paul. I remember getting the support from Enzo. And we started an account. We started that account. And when we started that account, we decided then that we are going to give students of St. Mary High School in grade 11, 12, and 13 the opportunity to do 2 more subjects that they would not be able to do because they didn't have the money. That year, we were able to give the school $220,000 in terms of getting students to do. And it was what? 24 students in the first year, 19 CSEC, and 5K. In the second year, we topped that to $250,000. And in the third year, we continued on a roll, and COVID-19 came
along. Okay.
We normally give a report, and Paul, we still have not yet gotten that report for the year 2020. The fact is, there was some mishap with the results. Results are still coming in. Okay. But I can say safely that we did not waste the money that we spent. In addition to that, we have given table tennis balls to the table tennis club. We have looked at different projects to do, and I'll ease up myself right now and allow my other batchmates to say something.
Anybody else want to grab the baton? Say what you guys are doing and what you guys have done and what you guys plan to do.
I think Nick spoke quite well about our main project, which has been the funding of the CSEC and GSEC examinations. But that has been a pet peeve for us for the past 4 years. Certainly something that we look to continue in years to come. COVID-19 certainly, took us off our track where that's concerned, but certainly something that we're looking to get back on track for this year. I think beyond that has been our major project. Last year we wanted to have celebrated our 30-year anniversary. And to that effect, we also wanted to have included the school population, current and other past students and administration as part of that celebratory event. That too was impacted by COVID-19. But I think that, it's something that we're continuously looking to get more involved with the school itself, with the school's administration, the school's student body, and the wider community at large. Our belief is that, having gone through the gates of St. Mary's School, That's our foundation, and it's our opportunity to know what I call paying it forward.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we can only hope that the students who are impacted today will be the ones that continue this trend in years to come.
Years to come, right.
But certainly something that we're looking to continue as the class of 1990, and also to embrace other classes and other students as well.
Okay, well said, man. Denise, you want to add anything?
Yeah, just piggybacking on what Nick and Paul stated. So we made sure, ouch, 1 second, the bone there. Oh,
Relax.
Come on, don't laugh. So even though we stated that, it was a St. Mary High School project, we also extended out of the school, because we have to understand that the parents, they need assistance too.
True.
So last year during the pandemic, we gave out, and I think Nick was present also.
Yes.
We gave out diapers for babies and some baby stuff, and aided, in helping out the adults, because even though they're little teeny weeny babies, there are definitely going to be a batch of them coming to the school. And some of their parents still have children coming to the school, and they need the help. They need funding, whether it's money, food, clothes, diapers, any little bit, it'll add up. Before we gave out the diapers, we had other missions that we wanted to finish with the school, but we thought that this pandemic blew everything else out of the way. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people weren't doing well. A lot of people were getting ill. So we just thought that it was more important to give out those packages. Also, Nick, I think, forgot to state this, but he gave out a lot of tablets to these kids who are doing online school. And I must say that it's really awesome, because a lot of these parents, they didn't even have a banger to use, much less a tablet. And Nick came forth and he did that project and gave so many children a lot of tablets. Some of the other students, they gave computers. Some of them were anonymous. They did not want their names to be given, and they went and gave things to, we gave formulas, we gave wipes, anything to help out with the community. So, I must say kudos to our class of 1990, and we have to definitely big up our admins. They have worked with us. I mean, Andrea Neath, Karen Mitchell, Belinda Bryan, they work their tails off. A lot of times, on my mouth big, sometimes I say something and it get them upset, but them still work with me. You know what I'm saying? Because just like Nick, I'm very vocal.
Yep.
Very vocal. And if there's something on our minds and something that we are very passionate about, we're going to go there and we're going to say it. And I mean, for these 3 young ladies to deal with, at one point it was 120 of us on the WhatsApp group, but right now it's 90. For these 3 ladies to be the admins, to deal with 90 people, my goodness, we got to give it to them, but I'm really thankful for our group. And to be honest with you, they've helped me, I think, more than anything else.
In what way?
Okay, let me show my picture again. Look at me.
Go ahead.
2000. Ain't nobody on this thing gonna make me cry, because I swear to God, y'all make me cry. It's gonna be, I'm gonna bust some shots up in here.
Denise.
No.
Denise.
Relax. Keep calm.
We love you.
But
we love you, sweetheart. Mwah.
We just want everybody to understand. That's what we are for each other.
Right. Go ahead, Denise.
Why you do that?
Go ahead, Denise. We're here with you. We supporting you.
In the same breath, I just want to take the time out to continue to send our goodwill wishes for Laura. at this point in time too. Because Laura, I think she's doing much better now, you know, and there are other members of our group who we also reach out to in many ways. Many. There are people who fall on hard times, and we have come together and we actually reach out to them, and we, you know, we make them feel here and ready.
I never done talk, you know.
All right, Denise, go on. I just wanted for you to.
No, darling, I know you want me to laugh.
Go ahead, Denise.
Seriously, you know, in 2015, the doctors had diagnosed cancer. And even though we did not start the big group, we still had a small group. I think it was like 14 or 15 of us. But then some years ago, we got the large group. And last year in September, the doctors had diagnosed leukemia. And it was bad. And these guys, I mean, they really, really helped me. I remember September 16th is my birthday. I was getting chemotherapy while being on a Zoom with 37 of my class of 1990. They gave me a surprise birthday party. And I tell you,
wow,
I could not, I couldn't deal with it. I mean, they gave me so much love. So they uplifted me. I mean, Paul came and visited me. I was stunned. It's COVID. They can't let all these people upstairs. But Paul came, and so did Jason Smith. He came because, you know, he's a deacon. So he told them that he's the pastor so that they could send him upstairs along with Paul to have two people. Michelle Ramsey surprised me. And then Ava Sharp surprised me. Lickle surprised me. I was just in tears.
You guys are really tight.
And then once again, it's COVID. Only one person per day. And the doctors, they gave an okay for my husband, my daughter, and my little brother to be in the room with me while on the Zoom birthday chat. I mean, it was just, man. And not only with the whole birthday thing, but they'll call me every day. They send me Deborah Rigg. Sometimes I hear on my ring, ding dong, someone is at your door. My husband will go outside. I have a package from Deborah. I'm like, I want this lady, man. She always surprises me. They'll send me stuff. I get flowers from class of 1990. I tell you, there's no other group. There's no other group. We are the best.
None like us.
None.
None
and
like
Paul, I'm going to punch the hell out of you for making me cry. I'm coming off this mess.
I'll come see you, okay?
Yeah.
You're right, then he's you guys.
I just want to include though, Gary, that we also still have in trail that mentorship program. We have decided as a class that we are going to set up a mentorship program and focus on especially the grade 9s. The fact is that we see grade 9 as a pivotal year in school. That the grade 9 is the year of decision. And we have come together with that and stuff like that. And so we are still ironing out that. COVID has put a halt on it for now, but we are going to be sharpening that. But I also want to
Nick, hold on, tell you. Nick, I cannot let you leave without giving a chance to explain your device initiative. Could you tell the public, give us some more information on that? What is it about? Why did you start?
All right. Folks, I am a lover of people. I don't pride myself to be the top notch or whatever. I'm a simple human being who just loves people, no matter where you are, black, white, yellow, pink, blue, no matter what. I just love people. I don't like segregation. I don't like being prejudiced. I don't like any such thing like that. So I'm a lover of people. And I believe that every human being must have the equal chance at life, and they must have equal access to education. Where I come from, I have seen where an environment was created for the privileged and the unprivileged. I don't like that. So I tend to reach out more to those people people quote unquote see as unprivileged. And I think I get that from my mother. I must big up my mother wherever she is. I think I got that sort of thing from my mother. And while I am a lover of people, I'm a champion of technology, and I believe that anywhere in the world you are, the passing of information must be easy. And I believe when COVID-19 came on, and I realized that some people would be disenfranchised. Instead of trying to fit COVID into our schedule, into our environment, I realized that the best way to go about it was to do things to maneuver our way through this COVID pandemic. And one thing hit me is that the little boy in Derry, where there is no internet connectivity, unless you're able to buy a modem to go up in there, you will not be able to reach the school. And that is where it came from, where I said, let me find a phone. Let me find a phone that a youngster can at least get a $100 credit. And for even one time for the day, log on to a class, because it can happen. And as such, I use my radio program, the Speak Your Mind show, on a Monday night on Waves 96.3 FM. And I said, I am going to develop a Speak Your Mind device initiative, where I ask everybody, not for new things, go into the closets, go wherever you throw them, those old phones that you no longer use, those tablets, you change your laptop and you have one put down, and they're not using it anymore. Just send it to us. If the screen crack, if there's just some issue, we can refurbish it. And that is where it came from. And God has been good. The support is overwhelming, and a lot of devices came my way. I must thank Rosemary Booth. She's the class of 1983, but I must give thanks to her. She championed the initiative in the States along with my mother, Bess Brady. And so I have to I lift my hat to them, because how could I have done it? I can't do it by myself. And so all the other members of the class of 1990 who chimed in, some gave funding, some gave credit. And for all those people who really and truly, supported me on that initiative, the initiative is still on. And I'm saying to you, if you can just send another $1 worth of credit to a phone, if you can send another device that we can refurbish and give out, if you find an extra $1 and can buy a tablet, send it to us, because there's always another student. There are households with 6 children going to school. One phone. Some people just have to be shafted. They have to prioritize who should get the chance to go onto their classroom. And that is where my yearning for that initiative came from. And I continue to have a bigger zeal towards that initiative every single day.
But Nick, you've really done a wonderful job. We have been keeping tabs on you, and I log in some Monday nights, and it's really picking up steam. But guys, we've been on now for over an hour. Now, let me ask you guys, all you guys, St. Mary High is in your heart. Like I said, some of us bleed green and gold. Where would you guys like to see our institution in another 5 to 10 years? What are your hopes? What are your dreams? What are your goals for this great school? Andrew, you want to start here? When you look into the future, what would you like to see?
I would like, in general, I would like to see the institution on a solid financial base, so that it can give all students the opportunity to succeed. Because from my perspective, and I think from all my classmates, high school has determined to a great extent where we have gotten to. And if we can give all the students who pass through that great institution the same opportunities we had and build on that, the institution will be better. The entire parish will be better for it. And I think that's where I am, giving a long-term, solid financial base so the institution can do the things required to ensure, or at least give opportunity to all the students who pass through her gates.
Okay. Paul, what about you?
You know, ever since 1985, when I first stepped through the gates of St. Mary's School, I think I've witnessed continuous change and transition for the better. But having, lived in the States now for 21 years and being further exposed, especially in the era of technology and the power of technology and what that can do, certainly I would love for the school to get to a point where we excel on that platform, right? Giving each and every student the opportunity to have full exposure to every facet of what technology has to offer. Though certainly technology comes in many facets, there are limitations just merely because of, the fact that Jamaica is a third world country.
Mm-hmm.
But notwithstanding that, if we can put technology at the forefront of every student, of the institution, of the administration, of teachers, I think that will go a far way. Here we speak of what is called a STEP program: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And all of those fields really are driven by technology. And those are the fields that are driving, whether it be business, whether it be education, all the different platforms. These are the different fields that drives change. Right. So I would love to see technology be in the forefront of everything that the school does, everything the school gets involved, and certainly getting the students to a point where, and especially as we go through COVID-19,
Mm-hmm.
where they can use technology as a platform to bridge that gap, as it is right now, between the classroom and being at home.
And being at home, okay. Mm-hmm. Denise, anything you want to wrap up with?
I would like to see a bigger canteen for the students.
Mm-hmm.
I remember visiting one day and everyone was just packed in this little space. I mean, we were actually even thinking about extending the building where the kids would eat.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that we can do something with the teachers' rooms. Some of the desks in which they're seated around, it's in dilapidated conditions.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I remember visiting Mrs. Sadar's office, and for me, she's doing such a great job. I wanted to, refurbish her office.
Okay.
Helping out to put a nicer chair there, or for the secretary, just helping out with furnishings for the classes. I remember when I used to go to school, I mean, that's many moons ago, you sit down on a chair, I'm one nail joke you. We don't want any of that to happen.
Rip your pants or you can do. Yeah.
Oh, sir. Your pants did rip up too? Yeah, the whole of the Emma, my school uniform rip off. Yeah. And Mama swear say I ramp me did I ramp. But it was the nail, right? So, I would like to see that. I mean, I guess some people might say, I wish you had talked about, but it's important because we're talking about students being comfortable in class. We're talking about teachers going to their office. If I have to kick off them shoes and just have a little break, but sitting in more comfortable chairs. Mm-hmm. Because as we're always talking about the students. What about the teachers?
True. That is true.
So, you know, we have so many different ideas. Sometimes when we have meetings, we're all over the place because we want to help everyone,
so much.
you know. So that's my take on it. And I mean, we have other things that we're working on as far as what they call it, the long T thing, the board thing. Nicholas, help me out. I'm not a boy. T square. You know how you guys go down to that building, you know, make sure art right.
Yeah,
That area, you know, is transformed where the boys can do a better, you know, they're more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Give them more equipment. Okay, fine. Even as far as sports, give them a lot of balls to play with, like shoes, spikes, is it called, for soccer, whatnot. For the young ladies, we can just aid them with uniforms for netball. So, you know, we have just, I, for one, have a lot of ideas that I want to push for. And Garfield, I want to say this. I have been with the St. Mary High organizations since Pearline Blackwood used to have it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I used to go by in Queens, and we used to pay our $20 and sit down and come up with all kinds of, you know, ideas. So me not long time.
Yep.
You know, we
Longer time.
have so much to do.
Yeah, man. And we hope you're staying for a much longer period too. Nick, you want to wrap this up?
All right. So mine might seem a little bit far-fetched, but really and truly, this is where my heart is. And that is why I want to say kudos to the class of 1990. Andrea being our leader right now, Belinda, Karen, Debbie, Erica, all of us, Christopher Barton, Rowan Ellis, all the class of 1990.
Wait, can you just say which Andrea this is you're speaking of?
This is Andrea Nee.
Andrea Nee, okay.
Andrea Nee.
Okay.
And we want to start back our past student association here, and we are in dialogue. And the class of 1990 is going to champion that initiative, where we start a proper past student association and forge forward. And so we, the class of 1990, have started a foundation, not-for-profit foundation. And that foundation is not named Class of 1990 Foundation. It is St. Mary Alumni Foundation. We are going to be sharing more on
good
that.
Move, sir. Good move.
So that is why we want to really get the PSA going. But as for me, what I want to see in the first thing I need to do is to say to the world that we can only transition if we set our physical plan in a state of first world acceptable situation.
Good.
I want to change those bathrooms from what they are. I want to put facilities in place that when the little boy from up Derry come and see, he will know that when he goes back to Derry, he is able to say to the others, hey, this is what it is. Next thing is that we want another compound.
True, true.
Why is it that we want another compound? I need to stop thinking about sixth form. I need a community college.
Oh, wow.
I need a community college. And why do I need a community college?
Nick.
Because when we have just a mere sixth form, we are within a confined space where we develop the knowledge of students for just knowing things, and we are not really preparing them for the workforce out there.
Okay.
And so this is the transition that I would want to see a St. Mary High School and Community College in another 4, 5, 6 years, whatever it may be. But we must put our shoulders to the wheel. We must sit down and decide, how will we go forward? You talk about sports? No one at St. Mary High School it loves or is in support of sports, whatever it may be, like Nick Taylor, who takes his own money and buy balls and buy all sorts of things to give to St. Mary High School sport back in the days. And if I should do it again, I will do it again. And all I'm saying, I want this first world sort of an environment so that our students, when they come to St. Mary High School, there is that difference that they will see, that there's that feeling that they will have. So when they go back out there, people can once again look and say, there goes a St. Mary High School student who really and truly is an example to follow. That is what I want.
Hold on, Nick, not to cut you guys here, but those are lofty dreams that can be attained. But let me ask you something, all of you guys. At this point in time, do you think St. Mary High is still the stellar attraction in St. Mary that it once was? Give me your honest opinion on that, guys.
Yes, it is.
You think it is?
Yes, it is.
What about you, Paul?
I would want to believe so, right? It probably would be ill-advised of me to take such a definitive stance, more so because I've been away for this long time.
So long, right?
But you know, I don't think that the name and what St. Mary's School represents has diminished in the least bit of ways ever since I left there. And I think that the school will just continue to go stronger and stronger, certainly with the guidance of the one and only Mr. Nicholas Taylor. I always call him my politician.
I think so too.
But I would want to think that, you know, we've certainly maintained the image and the status that has been around for many decades. And I would want to believe that that will continue, under the tutelage of whether it be our own from the class of 1990 or other administrators. Certainly, the student population, you know, has a, you know, definitively has a way to go, and they themselves will have, you know, carry the burden of maintaining what we've done and what we've instilled over the years. But I want to believe that, you know, it's certainly possible. You know, St. Mary's School was and will always be the _1 institution in St. Mary. And that goes without saying. No apologies.
But guys, another thing, you guys, your batch has jumped to the forefront. Do you guys think you can galvanize all the batches together and so have a united front instead of having this batch pulling to the left, one pulling to the north, south, east, west? Do you think you can galvanize everybody into one cohesive unit? Do you think it's possible?
It is. It is indeed possible. And that is something that I really want to champion. I want to have a good and effective past student association. And it can't be with just the class of 1990.
That's true.
It has to be the alumni of alumni. And so we want to start the Red Sea or the Jordan River just never part unless somebody stepped into the water. And if the class of 1990 is the group that it takes to step in that water, that is what we intend to do, because St. Mary High School can only be better. St. Mary High School can gain the true status that it ought to have if we have a solid, good bedrock alumni.
Yep, true.
Garfield, just to add to that, you know, we're certainly dispersed globally,
right?
And I think, I speak quite highly of the use of technology, but I think irrespective of where we are across the globe, technology brings us all together. And I think along that front, you know, it is certainly possible to have a united St. Mary High School alumni body, and one that's going to drive change and bring about, you know, greater achievements, whether it be from, you know, the administration, whether it be from our presence on a global front, whether it be our presence in the different organizations within Jamaica and across the world. But I think it's certainly possible that through unity, we can drive this, not as a class of 1990, but rather as the Alumni Association of St. Mary High School.
green and gold.
Definitely possible.
Okay. So Garfield.
Yes, ma'am.
Every year, I think it's in May, close to Memorial Weekend. There is a link up here. I think it's in Florida, and I think last year or 2 years ago, I went 2 years ago, and it was in Atlanta.
Right.
It's the St. Mary High School reunion that they have annually. Now, you just asked a question about all of us coming together. I would love all of us to come together. But going to a lot of these reunions, I don't see everyone together.
That's true.
Most of who I see are like the older years, and not trying to be funny. I'll see class of 83, 80, 81, 87. The last time I went, it was only 2 people from class of 1990. So where are they?
And the reunion, I went to down in Fort Lauderdale. I saw only the younger kids.
Right. So, once again, not trying to be funny or what they would call shady, but if we're going to unite, then that means we have to start from scratch.
Right.
And these little reunions, we should come together to sit down, because even though it's partying and fun, we do still sit down and talk about the changes of the school and whatnot.
Gets done,
so this is what I'm saying. Like, and a lot of us are here in the States, because I live in New York and I drove twice to reunions, and I flew down to a couple of them. But I'm saying, a lot of times people don't even take part. They don't. So this is the question. How do we get all classes together?
Right, that's the thing.
That is a $1 million question. Enzo, you have to unmute your mic, Enzo.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, Enzo, go ahead.
I think we have a goal of uniting all the alumni, but one of the things I think is oftentimes we set our goals so high that we become frustrated from not achieving them. And I think what we have done so far with the class of 1990 is a good template from where to start. We had several regional meetups. We have done projects. We have built a network of support. And I think what we have done is where we need to be. We need to do things. And as we do more, we invite more. And by doing, people will see that we are making progress and want to join. Not as just the class of 1990, but we will outreach and say, hey, this is for all of us. But we have to do what we are doing, continue doing what we're doing, so that others will see that, you know what, we're serious about getting work done and getting the institution on a better footing.
I think you're right, because a lot of people don't want to help, but they
really changed the trajectory, slowed us down, but I think we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, man, I think a lot of people want to help, but a lot of people stay on the fence and they're watching to see what's going to happen. I think you guys have the right template where you're going little by little, taking it in bite-sized chunks. And I think that's the way to go. Guys. Anyway, you guys almost convinced me of your 1990. I'm not totally convinced yet. I know there are other groups out there who would raise that challenge. I know that you guys have thrown it out there. I'm positive other groups are now going to want to come on and say, hey, that 1990 group just blowing smoke. So I'll give the others a chance. And then later on, I'll give you guys a chance to come back and wrap it up again to prove to everybody that you are who you say you are.
The truth is, Gary, this is just a taste of who we are. Whenever the others come along and want to boast and do whatever, we are ready to come back anytime. To really do the main course.
All right.
But it's just a taste of what we are.
Talk is cheap, all right? Anyway,
talk is cheap.
Guys, all four of you guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much for appearing on Rock the Mic. And like I want to tell everybody listening on Facebook or YouTube, listen, guys, even though all the personalities here are basically outgoing people, there's no ego involved here. These are guys I talk to. There's no ego involved here. At everybody's heart is one thing, that green and gold, faith and courage. And I'm happy you guys took the time out to come on. I know some of you have other things, more important things to do, but I'm happy that you decided, hey, to just sit down and chat with me. Denise, wish you all the best, hon. And we're here in your corner too. Enjoy, take care, and Paul,
Thank you.
all the best. And Nick,
anytime.
Nick,
All right.
hope your movement goes from strength to strength with that device initiative, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, guys.
Have a great night.
Signing off
Talk
tonight,
soon,
ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us on Rock the Mic. See you again next week. Take care, everybody. Good night. Have a nice evening. Take care.
All right, take care.
Okay.